Will Solana NFT projects be the next big thing for 2022? Do Solana NFTs have the potential to be as popular as Ethereum NFTs? And finally, will you hit that like and subscribe button and tick the bell icon to make sure you get all the best NFT content that I have planned for this month? Let's find out. So first off, I gotta say this, I am not a financial advisor. Everything that I'm gonna be saying in this video is strictly my personal opinion and not financial advice. We're gonna talk about my opinion and look at some public stats, and that's it. So always do your own research, and before you buy any NFTs, talk to your financial advisor. All right, let's jump in. So in order to get the answers on how Solana NFTs are going to compare to Ethereum NFTs, we're going to be looking at a couple websites. We're going to be talking about some stats, and we're going to be figuring out what we can actually put together and guesstimate for the future of Solana projects based off of this data. So some of the things we're going to be looking at are the fees, the market caps, the amount of traders each month, and the trade volumes, as well as the top project prices, just to see how they compare on the value of the best projects on each blockchain. Now, right now, if we just compared Solana versus Ethereum right now, I could tell you it's a no-brainer. Ethereum is going to be the superior NFT platform. However, will it always be the superior platform? And what does Solana have that Ethereum doesn't? So first off, let's look at fees. The number one question that I get are, hey, why do we not switch over and focus on Solana NFTs? Why do we stick around with Ethereum NFTs when Ethereum is so much more expensive and Solana is so dirt cheap in comparison? When it comes to fees, especially for like Ethereum, it can get complicated fairly quickly. However, let's just cover it. So Ethereum is based off of what's called gas fees or GUI units. Okay, so the higher the gas fee, the more GUI that it's required to move that transaction. So the higher the GUI, the higher the gas fees, the more expensive it's going to be. Now, Solana, they're a lot more optimized and it takes way less time, as well as they can pass a lot more transactions per block than Ethereum currently can. So they're a lot cheaper. Plus, the price of each token also counts in. So if each token was the exact same price, Solana would still be cheaper than Ethereum because it's more optimized. It can handle a lot more transactions per block and it handles them a lot faster. So if you go to etherscan.io/gas tracker, you can actually see the current gas prices for Ethereum. Right now, it's estimating that the standard or the average price for a OpenSea transaction, so to buy one NFT off of OpenSea, would cost you around $30. Now, this does not cover minting. Okay, so minting an NFT on Ethereum, if it's a really well optimized contract, you could be paying anywhere from like maybe $10, $15 per NFT mint, which is super rare, but I've seen it, all the way up to several $100s per mint. This all falls back on one, the optimization of the transaction for the contract on Ethereum, as well as how high the gas prices are currently. Summarize gas, the more transactions that are happening on the Ethereum blockchain in a shorter amount of time, the higher the gas prices. So if there's a huge project popping off and there's a lot of trades going on, there's a lot of minting going on, gas prices could like shoot up clear into, you know, 200, 300, 400. When that happens, make your transactions wisely because each transaction is going to cost well over $100. Whereas on Solana, if there's a lot of transactions happening, it could still only cost you a few cents to a few dollars for transactions. So currently, right now, if you're just trying to get into NFTs and start dabbling around and learn about how they work, maybe get some cool utility with them and start playing around with them without putting a whole lot of money up for risk, Solana is a good way to go to just kind of start learning how this stuff works. However, once Ethereum 2.0 drops, this could actually drastically change. Ethereum 2.0 is supposed to drop this summer in June at some point, hopefully. And once that happens, it will optimize the transactions. It will increase the allotted volume per transaction or per block, and the transactions will become much cheaper. So Ethereum could actually compete with Solana in this realm fairly soon. Do I think it'll be as cheap as Solana? No, but it could definitely get a lot better than several $100s per mint on a high gas day. Now, bear in mind, just because Solana is cheaper to get into mint, into the transaction fees and all that stuff, doesn't mean it's a better platform. I have heard a lot of complaints about a really bad rug pull issue, you know, a lot of scams going on because Solana is so much cheaper for the transactions, the startup fees, and all of that stuff. Scammers have been really migrating to Solana and taking advantage of the cheap startup fees to launch these junk projects. People buy in, they dump, they rug, they take all the money and they leave. So bear in mind, with cheaper transaction fees, that's more attractive to scammers. And I have seen a lot of scams on Solana. That's not to say they don't happen on Ethereum, because trust me, they happen a lot on both. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so next up, let's look at market caps. So really quickly, just by pulling up this solanalysis.com, you can kind of see the market caps for not only the Solana NFTs, right, as a whole, but you can also see the market cap for their top projects on Solana. Now, if you look right here, you can see market cap is basically 1.1 billion US dollars, which that's pretty good. Okay, the current SOL price to USD is $98.76. So that's a good price. That's a solid structure. That's a good foundation for good potential. If it was much lower than that, I'd say, hey, this is essentially non-existent. You could totally degen into it and just buy a bunch of random projects as they launch, and hopefully it takes off. But where it sits, let me show you how it compares to Ethereum. Okay, let's look at the presence of Ethereum. Okay, so if we go to coinindex.com, we can look at cryptocurrencies sector NFT. So what we're doing is we're looking at the market caps for major NFT collections. Okay, so the biggest market cap in the NFT space is actually Decentraland, and they have a $5.21 billion market cap. Okay, so if we go back and we look at just Decentraland and we compare that market cap against the entirety of the Solana NFT market cap, you can see the difference. Okay, so that's literally Decentraland is one project out of all of Ethereum NFTs, and it's 5 times bigger than all of Solana NFTs. Okay, so right now the current market cap estimated for Ethereum is about $35 billion, and that's projected to go up clear to $80 billion of a market cap by 2025. Now, Solana has a lot to go in order to catch up to where we're at even right now. That's not to say that they don't have solid potential. So if we look at the all-time growth charts of the actual, like the historical activity of Ethereum versus Solana. So right here, you can see that Ethereum started out really slow, just going very slow. They had very minimal users for a very long time. Whereas if we go and look at Solana, we're back at September 13th, I believe, of last year is when they really started going on Magic Eden. Okay, so that's when Magic Eden started up. If you look at this, they started taking off, and they've been getting really good attention. They've been getting a solid growth. And then out of nowhere, they basically tanked off. Now, I'm not 100% certain on what would cause something like this to totally drop off, other than, you know, there's not as good of projects going on, the total market crash. We're looking at the current conflict between Ukraine and Russia currently happening. So there's a lot of factors that could cause a massive dump like this, but at the same time, this could just be because of something going on the platform, and people are just not moving their NFTs around or buying a whole lot while things are being figured out on the platform. So for traders, total monthly traders, if we look at Magic Eden, which again is the largest NFT marketplace on Solana, the total 30-day volume of users is 194,000, almost 195,000 users for the month. Okay, and that's down 18%. Now, if we jump back over to OpenSea, we can see that the users is up 2.87% in the last 30 days for 471,000. So almost 500,000 monthly users. What's more interesting is if we come over here and we go to Dune Analytics, so dune.xyz, and we go to OpenSea, you can actually see the total OpenSea traders over time. Currently, right now, there are essentially 1,366,809 traders, total traders on OpenSea, and this is just absolutely exploding. So for the trade volume on the Solana NFT platforms to catch up or even compete with Ethereum, they're going to have to do a whole lot better than whatever this was, where they just tanked off right here. So that's not a good sign if they're going to compete with Ethereum. I would like to see that graph even, climbing up a bit more. But with that huge tank that they took, especially with Solana Art, which is the next biggest Solana NFT marketplace, again, their graph is not keeping up with the growth for Ethereum, and they just kind of seem like they're trying to compete, they're trying to show up, but Again, it's definitely a secondary marketplace with not enough momentum to keep up with Ethereum as far as their growth, but I think that the growth could potentially come back. One of the things that I want to look at is the actual number of transactions per platform or per blockchain. Okay, so if we look at the OpenSea versus the Magic Eden transactions, Magic Eden actually has 3.9 million transactions in the last 30 days, whereas OpenSea has 2.5 million. So that means that the smaller amount of users on Magic Eden are actually making a lot more transactions. Okay, so if we look at almost 500,000 users making transactions, so if we go 2.55 million transactions and we divide that by the 471,000 users, each user is making essentially 5.5 transactions for the month. But if we come over here and we go 3.9 million transactions and we divide that by the 194,000 users, each user on Magic Eden is making about 20 transactions. Okay, so this just shows that Magic Eden does have very active users. The users are, probably spending a lot less on transactions, and so they're not too worried about reserving and making the best choices. They're just kind of like spitballing and hoping they get the best projects they can early on. If you look at the trade volumes, there is good trade volumes on Solana. It's just there's not a lot of users and the total market cap is super low. So the last thing I want to look at is comparing the top projects on the Ethereum network versus Solana, just to get a comparison of where the user value is at for each network. So essentially, what is the highest value being held on the Ethereum network versus the Solana NFTs? What do people think are the most valuable? So on Solana, if we come over here and we go to their Magic Eden and we go to stats and we go to the top collections, sort by 30 days, what I'm going to do is I'm finding the highest priced collection, or the highest floor price, right? But what I want to do is I want to find something that has a really high volume. So this right here has a really high volume, and the floor price is 280 Solana, okay? Which that right there, if we do the 280 Solana times about $98 per SOL, so each one of those, the floor price is $27,000. So $27,500 US dollars for Yuko Dragons. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I don't think I am. But so those guys, they've got the highest volume as well as one of the highest floor prices for $27,000. That's a really good volume. That's a good price for a top end project, but it's nowhere near top projects for Ethereum. Even if we look at the minimum floor price right here for the most expensive piece on Magic Eden, 540 Solana, that's roughly $52,000 for one of the Solana's most expensive projects on Magic Eden. Now, if we come over to Ethereum, all right, one of the most expensive and most popular, you see it all over the place, is Bored Ape Yacht Club. So Bored Ape Yacht Club's current floor is 85 Ethereum, and Ethereum is about $2,950 right now, which is $250,000. So if we sort the top Ethereum projects by top volume, currently we actually see the Asuki, which is 52,000 Ethereum in total trade. So we can pull that up. We can go 52,806.89 Ethereum, and then say we average it out around about 2,800 since they launched. So that's about $148 million in trades just for that one Ethereum project. So does Solana have a chance at blowing up in 2022? I think yes, they do have potential of blowing up and actually becoming more prominent in the NFT space. Do I think they're going to become huge and even compete with Ethereum? Honestly, if they could compete with Ethereum, they have a very short amount of time. They have about 3 months. It's currently March. Ethereum 2.0 drops in June, hopefully. And if that happens in 3 months, Ethereum will become a much cheaper blockchain platform to trade and mint NFTs on that will attract even more people to it. And if the only reason people would buy Solana over Ethereum based off of price, that's no longer going to be a factor this summer. So if we look at what NFTs started with, they started with Ethereum. All of the high end, the OG, the historical monuments in the NFT space, all of these like top end NFT collections, they're on Ethereum. I really don't see another platform showing up and actually replacing Ethereum as the top NFT platform, because not only do costs and the actual utility of the platform or like the optimization of the platform come into play, but the historical value of the platform and the projects and the teams, they come into a majority of the play for the value of an NFT collection or even the platform itself. So with that said, I think Ethereum is still the top dog. They're still going to continue to be the top dog, but I think Solana has potential. I just don't think that they're quite on par with where they could be at as far as becoming a dominant NFT platform. By looking at the numbers of Solana, they're definitely viable, but they are far from catching up to Ethereum. And with the way that Ethereum NFT market is just absolutely going parabolic with monthly users flooding into the marketplace, and with a $35 billion market cap set to become $80 billion by the time we hit 2025, I think Solana has a lot of work to do. It's a viable platform and it could be a good one for people to get into and start learning how NFTs work. But if you are wanting to get into NFTs seriously, Ethereum is the way to go. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment below if this helped you out, and I'll see you in the next video.